Hello, I'm David Broadhead and welcome once again to the Business Programme here on Kirklees Local TV. Today's guest is Chris Henry, who runs the local franchise for ActionCOACH, a national organisation whose systematic business coaching methods help entrepreneurs and owners overcome the challenges in maintaining a business. Chris, thanks for sharing your expertise with us today. And let me start by asking you exactly what is ActionCOACH, what it offers and how it operates.
It's a great question, David. So ActionCOACH, it's the biggest business coaching operation in the world, and I'm proud to be a member of that group. It's a franchise. There are well over 1,000 business coaches under the ActionCOACH wing in actually 75 countries, so it's a very, very widespread operation. Yep. We all have our own businesses. The most recent office opened was in Vietnam, so that's an idea of the reach of the operation. So we all have our own businesses, we're all responsible for our own marketing. What ActionCOACH does is it effectively does what a sports coach does for a business owner. It identifies the areas of a challenge in a business and in the business owner, and we help them grow their business and actually grow themselves. So there's lots to it. It's a very systemised operation. I think Tiger Woods put it really nicely for me, which is when somebody asked him why he had a sports coach, it was because he couldn't see his own swing, and I really like that. That really is what business coaching is all about.
Good analogy, is that, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and there are a lot of similarities with sports coaching. I mean, we're just coming off the back of the World Cup, I think, at the moment, and look at the coaching qualities that Gareth Southgate's got, and that's in the sports context, and that's what we do for businesses. It really is an overview on them and their business, and getting them to grow and develop themselves and the business.
Okay, so who typically are your clients, and what type of problems, issues and challenges are they facing, and how have you helped them?
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, we always encourage our clients to think about their target market. I'm really clear what my target market is. And different action coaches, in fact, different coaches have different areas that they're particularly interested in. So, my target market is I'm looking for one-to-one contact with a business owner and with their teams. So, normally their turnover is over 300,000. At that point, they're prepared to kind of invest in business coaching. And I say invest because it is an investment, not a cost. So normally turnover more than 300,000 up to maybe 5 or 6 million turnover. That's the sweet spot for me in my area. Geographically, I'm able to coach within Huddersfield, within Yorkshire and Lincolnshire. So that's my territory.
Okay, so that's a good area.
Plenty to go at, particularly the M62 corridor. I tend to find I work more Huddersfield, Bradford than Leeds, York, the kind of top end of Yorkshire. This is the area that I'm closest to. It's where my roots are, so that's where I tend to focus. In terms of what we do for them and the challenges, it really quite nicely falls into 3 areas. When we start talking to a business owner, it's about time, team, or money. They're where all the challenges start to kind of surface. Time is often business owners working crazy hours, and they don't want to do that. And the reason they don't want to do that is because they want to spend time with the family. Team, where do we get taught how to recruit a team? We don't have a process. It's not something that the school system helps us with. So a lot of business owners struggle with recruiting and kind of motivating a team. And money, finance. Again, it's an area that a lot of people don't like. My background is finance, but it's not an area that a lot of business owners enjoy or are good at. So understanding the numbers is often a challenge. So normally the challenges sit within one, or often all 3 of those areas in some cases.
For me, some of the key problems with coaching can be the reliance of the coachee on the coach, along with the attendant cost and time implications. How do you ensure that that's minimised?
Yeah, I don't know whether I'd necessarily say it's a good thing to minimise it, because if a client's getting value from coaching, irrespective of the investment, if they're getting a return on the investment, I think that should continue. So if I were to say to you, you give me £5, I'll give you £10 back, you're going to do that all day, aren't you? I think, and that's the way I view coaching. So we're very, very careful to make sure when we engage with a prospect or a client, we can see they're going to get a return on their investment, and that's where looking at the numbers at a very early stage is a big part of the process. So I wouldn't necessarily restrict the time as long as they're getting a return on the investment. If I think about the average time period for a coaching relationship, in ActionCOACH it probably averages out about 9 months. My kind of shortest coaching assignment was 3 months, and that was great. and I've got a client that I've been working with for 2.5 years. So, and some of the coaches become non-exec directors of the companies they've coached. So there's no real kind of constraint. It's as long as they're getting value from the relationship. I think you carry on.
Yeah. So personally, do you find there's a greater need and demand for personal one-to-one coaching, group coaching in peer groups, or team coaching? And if which is the most effective, do you think?
I think, again, I would say this wouldn't, but they're all effective. It's all about what the client wants and what the client demands. And my kind of focus is very much one-to-one coaching. That's my preference. But I do come across businesses that would benefit from what we call group coaching. And the good thing about ActionCOACH is we support each other. So there are coaches in Leeds at Weetwood Hall who I will refer my potential group coaching prospects into a group which they run every Wednesday. So that's a 2-hour session where there's a mix of education and coaching. So that tends to be for clients or prospects that are smaller, new startups, not really ready for one-to-one coaching. So group coaching works for the right target market. One-to-one coaching works, and team coaching works as well. So again, it's all down to what the client demands and what the client wants. But we have an offering to suit all those needs.
So there's a good mix there, but there's a huge responsibility, isn't there, placed on you as a facilitator and coach to these people. So what's your background and relevant experience that enables you to support them so successfully?
Yeah. I mean, it's a good question, and my background is actually banking and finance. I always hesitate to tell people that I'm an accountant and I used to work for a bank. I mean, I was a social outcast for 24 years when I worked at Lloyd's. But it's good grounding because a lot of that experience was involved in motivating and running teams, supporting different areas of the bank. Because the bank, which was Lloyd's Bank, is made up of a lot of, not mini businesses, but businesses that are looking for support from a finance perspective. So you're seeing how a business works, but within a bank, not always visible on to the outside world. So that was a great experience for me because you're recruiting a team to support business areas, you're motivating a team, you're on the board effectively as the FD. Of a sizable business within the bank, so you're seeing what makes a business tick. Now, I suppose the coaching clients I've got are not on that scale, but the principles are still the same. It's a business, it needs marketing, it needs finance, it needs a team, so the problems are often very similar. So that for me is useful experience. I think the other thing to say is that we've actually got 2 businesses. One's a coaching business, one is a property business, so I'm running my own business, so I understand and see the challenges that business owners face. And I think all the action coaches are running a business, so they can empathise and resonate with some of the challenges that a business owner faces, and that's quite powerful.
Yeah. One of the key principles of coaching is not to mentor or counsel, particularly. How do you avoid that, and what training do you need to become a coach?
That's it. I'm smiling because one of the biggest challenges I had when I stepped out of banking and into coaching was to stop being a consultant. And there's a very different definition of a consultant and a mentor and a coach. It might just be worth kind of highlighting that a consultant will go in and do a piece of work and deliver a piece of work or a solution and then back away. A mentor is often somebody that has been there and done a business or a kind of a concept. They've had the experience, but they may be a few years ahead of the person that's on the receiving end of the mentorship. So that's different to a coach. I don't need to understand the nuts and bolts of web design or dentistry or event management. I don't need to understand that. I need to understand business. Coaching really is all about not necessarily understanding the business, but understanding how business works. And coaching is really all about asking questions. The definition of coaching came from Stagecoach, where the horse-drawn coach was coming from a point A to a point B. And that's really what coaching is all about. It's about where is the business now, getting clear where they want to be, and it's that journey between the 2 points, and we're taking them on that journey. And one of the first coaches I worked with had a definition of coaching, which is it's taking somebody from where they are now to where they want to be, using questions, commitments, and actions. And that really, for me, summarises business coaching, or coaching in its widest sense, in a great way. But that was a tough one for me to make the shift, because I naturally want to consult, I naturally want to give them the answer. And it's about them revealing the answer themselves. Then they remember, rather than me telling them. And that's the tough thing, and that's the difference between coaching, consulting, and mentoring.
Absolutely. So finally, on a personal note, when not working, are there any interests and hobbies that you have that you'd like to share with us, and explain how you relax and stay sharp?
Yeah. Well, sports has always been a big part of my life, and football. I hate to say it, but the team I support is not this side of the Pennines, but I love watching local football. I used to play local football. Obviously, I'm too old to do that now, so I think the closest thing I can get is watching a local game, and I really enjoy that. You know, I really enjoy watching a local game, whatever age group. So that's a passion for me. When we're coaching, we get our clients to set personal goals, and I've got a coach, so I set my personal goals. In fact, that's a great question for anybody who's a coach. Ask them who their coach is, because I think it's important to be congruent. Every coach should have a coach of themselves to push them and to push them along on their journey. So on my 90-day plan for this quarter is to learn Sarok, or to get better at Sarok, which is dancing. So between football and dancing, they're my passions. I'm not that good at it yet, but maybe next time I'll come back and show you a few steps.
And I've been learning to dance as well personally, so good luck with that. I know some of the problems involved. Well, that's all for this week. Once more, I'd like to thank Chris Henry of ActionCOACH for sharing his thoughts and experiences with us. I look forward to seeing you next time here on the Business Programme on Kirklees Local TV. Goodbye.